Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals, welcome to some more Heart of the Swarm beta action. And, well, we have got a PvZ coming up. Let me introduce the two players. In the top right position, spawning on Cloud Kingdom, we do have the red Protoss. It is EG's JYP. So, a cool guy and a former teammate of his down in the lower left, the blue Zerg player. It is LzGaMeR, who did leave EG after being with them for what seemed like an absolute eternity. So, yeah. He is a cool guy, and they're both pretty cool, very happy to see each other, no doubt. But being a ZVP, let's talk a little bit about what strategy is going down. Well, firstly, we're seeing the pylon comes down for JYP. This means that it's likely to be a forward fast expand or a Nexus first, one or the other. A lot of Protoss players are experimenting with this one gate style play, but I think on a map like Cloud Kingdom, it's not really the best map to do it on, and most players, just especially the high level players I'm finding, just tend to be a bit more happy and a bit more comfortable going for the same Wings of Liberty build, getting that quick Nexus out in order to get the mid-game economy. Meanwhile, for LZ, he should very much be looking to go for a 15 pull into a 16 hatch into a third base at about 4 to 5 minutes. So that is really the staple of Zerg early game against Protoss. And then you may be thinking, well, that hasn't changed very much. Where's the differences? The differences come from the Protoss side, to be honest, in the early game, in that you've got the Mothership Core. And the reason the Mothership Core is so potent is because it's offensive and defensive. This third base is very exposed for LZ, and as such, I'm really looking forward to seeing what potentially JYP could be doing. I've seen some great strategies that utilize Blink Stalkers coming in here with the Mothership Core, because you force a lot of units, and those units are not drones, therefore you keep your opponent very low down in terms of the worker count, and really your only concern if you go for not even Blink Stalkers but just Stalkers full stop coming in, especially sort of 5-gate Stalker taking a third off the back of it coming into this base is really good, because what you can do is, should you get surrounded by speedlings, you just use that Mothership Core to mass recall back to your base and you don't lose anything. Best case scenario, you kill off the third base, and then you're in an amazing position, a very amazing position in terms of what you can be doing in the mid and late game as a Protoss, and the Zerg is in a massive amount of problems. So, let's just talk a little bit about what you can also do aside from those Stalker play from the Protoss side. You could be going for loads of different strategies. I've seen some great things with some DT rushes. The other good thing about the Mothership Core is this: you can secure your third base very easily with a low number of units, especially if you go for something like an Oracle expand. So you get your Stargate out after the gateway in Cybercore, obviously you get a Stargate, 2 Oracles, go and harass, and while you're harassing you keep the Mothership Core back with just a small number of gateway units. Usually you go 1 gate, 1 Stargate, Oracles, then 3 additional gateways, so producing off of 4 warp gates. With the Mothership Core you can secure this third base very early on, and that is really potent, and a lot of Zerg players struggle with that. So what more can we have happening around? Well, for the Zerg player, Roach Hydra, great composition. Swarm Host Corruptor, another really strong playstyle. I know a lot of pros struggle with that, but late game, they all have the same cooldown, and that is Sky Toss. It's really strong at the moment, and especially once you start getting, say, Void Ray Carrier with some High Templar mixed in, Protoss is incredibly powerful. So that is really something that LZ doesn't want to happen. Admittedly, I've seen a lot of people on forums, etc., being like, "Oh, Sky Toss, it's so strong, I can't beat it." The thing with it is it's really quite weak. It takes a long time to get up, and while it's being built, it's a very weak composition, and that's where, as a Zerg player, you should be trying to stop it should you get the scouting information that that's what your opponent's doing. If you allow them to get up at 200 of 200, Voidway, Carrier, Tempest, High Templar army, that just takes such a long period of time that really, if you haven't killed them before then, of course you're going to die. Now, what we're seeing here is just the Stargate coming out. It's one of the things I expected. The Overlord can see that the Forge isn't researching anything though, and that lack of researching does give an indicator that it's most likely going to be a Stargate. Unfortunately, cannot see the Cybercore, which is getting +1 weapons for air units, so this is something you don't so often see. Maybe a very early indication of SkyToss. Meanwhile, the Zealot just happily chipping away, slicing and dicing away at the hatchery. Gonna take a bit of a long time though, and with the Queens waddling their way over, they'll be able to save it. That's all good. The double Avo chamber coming down now for LZ, so could be going for some double upgrades. 1-1 missile attack, very common, because that it still leaves you a lot of options. You can go on the one hand for the Roach Hydra composition, which is great, but also Swarm Host benefit from the +1 missile attack, and therefore you do have a variety of options going into the mid game, and that can really throw off your opponent. And Locusts especially deal exceptionally well with upgrades. They're free units anyway, and if you've got free units and you're making them even more cost effective, what could you possibly hope for? It's absolutely great. For Protoss players out there struggling with Swarm Hosts, SkyToss is really good against it. Tempest specifically. Tempest with an Observer, scouting to garner vision, insanely good. Also, of course, you've got to look at getting High Templar out for Storm. That does kill Locusts in one hit. So those are the things you want to do. As a Zerg player, counteracting, especially the Obs play, keep some Overseers with your army if you're going Swarm Host. That is pretty much the staple of what you want to do. The Corrupt is there as well to pick off the Observer, because without an Observer, there's no detection available, and that's when you run into problems. So we're seeing the JYP not actually going for Oracles, as some people might expect, instead getting a second Stargate and getting an awful lot of Phoenix out. So it's going to be Phoenix harassment, going to push back all of the Overlords across the map, trying to knock some stuff out, try and harass, get some lifts off, kill some Queens maybe. And ooh, JYP, you're hidden third base. I do like that. That is exciting times. But LZ, he's getting up his Spore Crawlers already. He's getting up his lair. So he is clearly preparing for this harassment. Now got the Oracles out, got the Phoenix out, and now transitioning into getting double Oracle production. But with the Spore Crawlers coming down, this isn't going to work too effectively. And to be honest, it's going to be really, really difficult for JYP to do too much damage here. There are some areas that are still exposed, especially with the double Oracle. You can deal a nice bit of damage. The Forge getting +1 shields, because that obviously benefits all Protoss units, which is a nice little thing to see. The +1 weapons really going to be helping these Phoenix. They do some extra damage now, picking off the Queens, picking off the Overlords, avoiding the Spore Crawlers as best they can. And now with the Oracles on their way out, we've got 2 more coming out as well. So that's going to be 4 Oracles. That's a huge amount of damage that could be coming out. These Phoenix do need to be a little bit careful with the Spore Crawler there. Need to try and stay out of range of it. The lift going down, more Spore Crawlers are getting chucked down everywhere, but the Phoenix still staying up. Good damage being done. Spore Crawlers absolutely everywhere though, and I think that's going to put an end to it. We do see that a couple of drones are going to try and get taken down. Meanwhile, Speedlings waiting to see that, hang on, there's no third base here. What am I going to attack? I can't punch through the wall off. That's going to be problematic. Oh, the probes. The probes. You're not going to give away that there's a hidden base, are you, probes? Probes, don't do it. Don't do it, probes. Don't do it. LZ, where are you looking? Where are you looking, LZ? You're down here. Ah, but they're on attack. They were on stop rather than hold. That means that they are going to come and intercept this. And now giving away. Why else would you be sending probes over here? Unless, of course, you had a hidden expansion. Oh dear, JYP, that didn't really go in your favour, and now discovered. Luckily, the cannon very well fortified behind a pylon and 2 gateways, but without some warpins, a lot of probes are going to die here. That is very unfortunate, but LZ, he's happy. He's just like, I'm going to take my 4th, I'm going to take my 5th base, and you're not going to do much because you've only got air units, and I'm going to counteract that by getting my Spire down. I've got LZ actually going for the melee upgrades as opposed to the range, so that's quite interesting because I went on that long side path about saying how getting the missile upgrades was definitely what he was going to be doing. Now going for Enduring Locust as well. So this is really thoroughly confusing me because unless he's going to try and tech the Broodlords quickly, I'm not quite sure what he's going to do. 4 Oracles though showing us that they can do a huge amount of damage, can take out Queens, vaporize them, vaporize Spore Crawlers as well, pick off drones exceptionally quickly. The Phoenix being like, you know what, I fancy killing a good number of Overlords as well. The Spore Crawlers trying to come back, but getting focused down by the Oracles very quickly. They are burrowing in time, but another one is going to go down. A good little bit of micro from JYP, pulling back those Oracles as quickly as possible. The Phoenix still chipping away at Overlords. They want to get some kills as fast as they can. And now just getting the lift on the Queen, trying to reduce the anti-air a bit more, but will be forced back for the moment. I believe none of the Oracles went down actually, so that's a very impressive play. This hidden base still working out well. In terms of the worker count, 58 to 68. It's only a 10 drone advantage. The Speedlings though, really looking to come and be aggressive. Where are they going to go? For this 3rd, most likely. There are 2 cannons there, but 2 cannons against this many Speedlings, well, you're just not going to be able to kill things before a lot of probes die, and that's what LZ is really counting on. He's also getting up his Mutalisks behind this. JYP has got to find a way to deal with those mutants, because if you don't kill them, they regenerate health oh so quickly, but good control out of JYP there, but he's lost 17 workers this game so far, and that's just what's really pushing him back, as opposed to LZ outproducing his opponent. So Swarm Hosts are going to be coming out. Enduring Locust is done. Mutalisks are on the field. No Swarm Hosts yet, and that's really just due to LZ needing more gas. He's got his 7th, 8th gas up, probably going to take his 9th and 10th gas as well at some point, but again, you just want a lot of income in terms of gas to get this great Muta flock out. Muta with Speedling, very, very good. There's only a couple of Phoenix out. In terms of anti-air, there's 1 Phoenix and 8 Stalkers. That is not going to be able to deal with 21 Mutalisks. Now, here comes the Swarm Hosts as well. Just a really nice composition. I haven't actually seen many games where Muta Swarm Hosts have been utilized, but the thing which is confusing is just that the upgrades don't really benefit either of these at the moment. But here we go. Those Oracles getting absolutely melted. The Zerglings coming in, taking out the cannons. Some force fields trying to go down, but of course that will not be stopping the Mutalisks. And this base, the probes, all dying so quickly. This was a great attack. But as we can see back home, not much really going on. We just see that this base getting absolutely destroyed. A third is being built down here. There's some more Phoenix and Sentries there as well. But with that many Swarm Hosts, with this many Mutalisks, I think JYP is going to be in a lot of problems. LZ with a sizable supply lead, 50 supply there. Having killed that many workers, now knocked his Protoss opponent down to just 53, killed 36 probes this game, and now that Nexus. This is really now up to LZ to lose, in my opinion. But with the Phoenix coming out oh so quickly, that is going to help with the anti-air. The Swarm Hosts could be then the problem. In they come, the Photon Overcharge being used, the Mothership Core gets taken down. That is an expensive gas-heavy unit. This was just a good little push. Lost some Zerglings, but that doesn't really matter. Meanwhile, a lot of Zealots coming down towards the 4th base of LZ. Going to start trying to deal some damage. The Mutas, though, on their way back. The Spore Crawlers are probably going to die, but not before, of course, the Mutas come back and clean out all the Zealots. And just trying to save the Queen. Doesn't want the Queen to die. The drones not really getting taken down. In terms of workers killed, so much better at the moment for LZ, but the Phoenix have got to be careful. If they get a couple of volleys off from those Mutas while they are outranging them, if you don't control them perfectly and you get a couple of volleys off, well, the splash damage from the Mutalisks is absolutely huge. The Phoenix melt. A lot of damage can be done. A second Spire coming up now for LZ. Next to his other one, +1 air weapons are complete. Where are all the Swarm Hosts? There they are. They're just chilling in the middle. All 10 of them. 10 plus Swarm Hosts become very effective and very difficult to deal with, especially when your opponent has got a grand total of 0 Colossi and 0 High Templar. There is just no splash damage there, and those Swarm Hosts, when they decide to go, are going to be very, very strong indeed. Some Corruptors being added into the composition as well to help deal with those Phoenix, but Justice, this is looking really good for LZ. The Spore Crawler doing some nice damage, just trying to chip away the Queen. Incredibly low, only 17 health, gets lifted up, instantly dies. The Muta's trying to come in though, going to try and cut off those Phoenix. Need to be careful not to get kited out though. The bottom right base, I believe JYP knows about that. Yep, he does, so he can go and try and harass that, but with the Spore Crawler there, the Phoenix, while there's a good number of them, could do some nice damage. The Swarm Hosts now over at the other side of the map though, and this is the problem. Those Swarm Hosts with Enduring Locusts are going to just send wave upon wave towards this third base, and this is where the damage is going to be coming. A couple of force fields going down, and apparently Locust incredibly done with force fields. Cannot cope with that. Sentry's already dying though, and every unit you see die to a Swarm Host Locust is 100% free. It is basically the cheapest you could ever hope for. We do see that there is that single observer coming over. The Corruptors though coming to help. No Overseers with this army though. Hive nearly done as well for LZ, so probably going to transition into Broodlords. He likes those free units, and now we see with the Burrow coming down, more Locusts will be spawning. The Overseers have just joined the army, sniping off that observer. Where is the mass splash damage? Well, it's non-existent, and that just means that these Locusts are going to start working their way up. Cannons are getting thrown down as quickly as they can, but as you can see, with the +2 armor upgrades, these Locusts can tank an awful lot of damage. But from behind, the Phoenix coming in, the Stalkers coming in. Where is the Observer though? The Observer, there are none on the field, so those Swarm Hosts, as long as they stay burrowed, they are a-okay. The Mutalisks trying to get focused down at the moment. Those Corruptors desperately trying to take out the Phoenix. The Stalkers trying to take out the Corruptors. Where are the next wave of Locusts? They should be coming up imminently, and they are going to be really helpful. Here they go. Has LZ got them rallied back to where he wants? No, they're just staying forward, but some Stalkers are now starting to go down. The Muta flock still up at 18, and the Stalkers are taking a lot of damage. So, without any Observer out, and still, while one Observer is now out in the main base, but hasn't come over yet, they are going to just be able to hopefully clean out those Swarm Hosts. But as we can see with the Hive down now, LZ is in a great spot, and it's just what he gets with that Hive. I'm hoping we're going to see a greater Spire. It would be a good move, but currently he's just getting out the +2 air weapons. He's getting out a lot more Mutalisks as well, and the Swarm Hosts moving their way forward after harassing this third base, as we can see, being really cost effective. and this is just only after a few waves of those locusts. So definitely Swarm Host great. Now I'm going to go and take a shot at the natural base as well, because why not? You may as well go and just force your Protoss to play it, force them to build loads of cannons everywhere, get the money lower. Void Waves are coming out. Sky Toss with those Stalkers are very good. Void Waves deal an awful lot of damage to both Corruptors and also Swarm Host, but as we see, the Locusts just trying to do a nice little bit of damage. Are they going to get any kills on these Stalkers? Yep, one goes down. Next wave of Locusts coming in as well. The Mutalisks count very high, up at 35, and as long as he doesn't die, can keep healing up. A couple of Corruptors out there as well to try and deal with the Phoenix, but a lift trying to go down on the Swarm Host as quickly as possible. But all in all, LZ is really looking to be dominating here. JYP, he's having to fall back, he's having to blink micro those Stalkers to death, just trying to make sure that he doesn't lose too many to the Locusts. But behind this, we've got the +2 flyer carapace, +3 flyer weapons coming down as well. Those mutas are going to be hitting like absolute trucks, and so will the Corruptors actually. So this is looking really good. The 3/3 melee upgrades coming down as well as Adrenal Glands, so Speedlings definitely going to be incorporated in the later game. The only thing I'd like to see LZ doing is, because he's got so much money and has got such good map control, is maybe taking this left base, but literally as I say that, he chucks it down, so that is good news. Meanwhile, the mutas harassing into the natural mineral line, taking out an awful lot of probes. The Stalkers can't get underneath them to deal with it as quickly as they may like. The Phoenix doing some nice damage, but the Corruptors helping. Meanwhile, the next wave of Locusts on its way through, and we can see that so many of these Stalkers are now going down. The muta count still up at 24, dealing some great damage here, and as the Stalker count gets lower and the muta count stays higher, they just do not deal enough damage. And as we can see, the Swarm Hosts are starting to get taken out by these Void Waves. Prismatic Alignment was used, but now the Void Waves go down very quickly indeed. This 6th base for LZ is going to be really helpful. But let's talk a quick bit about that worker count, 48 to 74. That means LZ is way ahead, and JYP knows it, and GG's out of the game. So Muta, Corruptor, Swarm Host is a good composition. JYP tried to take a risk with that hidden base, but those traitorous probes gave it all away. So, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Make sure you like the video, leave a cool comment, and please subscribe as well. And I hope to see each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new cast. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.